My name is Roberto Valenzuela. I am the host of the Curious Photographers podcast. And my next guest is a man who has traveled to every corner of the world photographing the most elite athletes for companies such as RedBull, Quick Silver. He has traveled to do photo expeditions and projects in Mauritius, which is off the Indian Ocean, the Sahara Desert, Antarctica, photographing the penguins, photographing everything you can imagine, running with the bulls in Portugal. This guy, if there's adventure, this guy's been there. If there's danger, this guy will eat it for breakfast. With that being said, please welcome my next guest, Kirill.
Минус еще один день.
Kirill, thank you so much for coming to the Curious Photographers podcast, sir. We always start with tequila shots because that's how we roll. So cheers to you, man.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming. So great to meet you, man. Just don't chug it. Just a sip. Just a sip.
Really?
Yeah, just a sip.
I'm Russian.
We drink. Yes, we should have brought vodka, but we will do this as we go through the podcast, so it gets more interesting as we go. Oh yeah, baby. That's what I'm talking about.
Nice.
Kirill, you have a very interesting name. It's like
K-I-R-I-L.
Kirill.
Double L. I don't know why, actually.
Because when I met you, your name, you said people think of you as shrimp.
Yeah.
Because it's like
Krill.
Krill.
No, listen. In the morning, before 12, it's a cereal. It's a breakfast. But if I met someone after 12, it's a krill. It's like small shrimps.
Right, because people thinking hungry, so they think you're a shrimp. And then in the morning, they think you're a breakfast. But what breakfast is krill, though?
Cereal.
Cereal? Krill?
Yeah.
They think krill is cereal?
Yeah.
Huh.
No, because it's a Greek name, Cyrillic alphabet.
Yeah.
So there's a name. And in France, for example, it's a lot of cereal guys. They don't spell it like Kirill. They spell it cereal.
Cereal.
So
okay, whatever.
let's stop with my name.
Yeah,
Don't go with my
start.
surname.
So guys, if you don't know, Kirill is action, sports, adventure, explorer, photographer.
Yeah.
Right?
Expeditions. Yeah. Outdoor.
And expeditions, outdoor, everything that you think crazy, dangerous, this guy does it.
Dangerous. Right? Yeah. Sometimes it's dangerous.
It's sometimes. I saw your Instagram. You guys have to check out. His Instagram. Can you tell everybody what your Instagram is?
It's my name, Kirill Umrikhin. It's even harder.
Yeah, they're never gonna get that.
Can you add the link?
So I'll add the link on the YouTube video because that's never gonna happen. But you guys, I just to let you know, as I do this podcast, I'm going to use my phone because I actually want to see the images, and I know that I'm going to be. I just want you guys to see a little bit of what is happening and why this is such an exciting podcast. Because I mean, this guy is next level crazy, people, and we need to make sure that you guys get to know him and see his work because it was mind-blowing for me when I first met you. Now, I met you at a Profoto party.
Yeah.
You're a Profoto guy?
Actually not.
Right.
I would love to use Profoto, but since I take a picture of action sports and skates all the time, they hit the stands and the flash down and break. So it
gets expensive.
It gets very expensive. So, and I use with the cheapest flashes, but I would love to work with a Profoto because they made the super stuff.
Yeah, they need to invent. Somebody needs to invent a business idea. Somebody needs to invent like a cushiony thing for lights, like a pillow thing that when you drop the light, it goes boing and it doesn't actually break.
I made a protection for the stands.
Yeah,
I put skateboards. No, I do protection around, like a wall around the stands. If skateboard hits,
Yeah.
The stand stay stronger.
Okay.
So,
This is what we need to do. We need to come up with something that when people draw, because this is the third or fourth time I hear recently that people are afraid of buying Profoto lights because they could break.
Yeah.
My friend Juan Padilla, he's one of my runner friends. We have a running club called the F-Stopping Running Club. He breaks everything. And so he tells me he cannot use Profoto because
he's a cameraman or photographer.
he's a photographer. Juan Padilla, he's a marathon
Usually
runner.
cameramans break everything, not the photographers.
You know, the photographer, this photographer breaks everything. And his wife, Abby, is just like, yeah, we can never get this guy anything decent because he'll break it within 5 minutes. So we need to come up with some idea that if you drop the light, it bounces back or whatever it is. So tell me about, you're from Russia.
Yeah.
You're from Moscow.
Yeah.
But then you're here.
It was a long way.
Yeah. And first of all, let's just do a quick version of what in the world happened. The war started. You said, I'm getting the hell out of here. And what happens if you do not leave Russia and you're against?
Yes. So I'm a success photographer. Was a success photographer in Russia. Ambassadors, work with the best brands, world brands, like Red Bull, Oakley, and then in one day war started. And I was at home, and accidentally I bought a ticket for 3 days to visit my family. They were in Egypt. My wife, she's a professional athlete, and she's training there, and kids were there. And the war started, and the next day I left country almost 3 years ago, and I never come back.
Your wife is a professional. She's a Red Bull.
Yeah, she's a Red Bull athlete, windsurfer. She's a professional windsurfer.
Man, that's an intense wife, man.
It's I work 10 years. It was my hobby. I work as a team manager in board riders. It's a Quick Silver, Roxy, DC brands, and I met her there in the office. And she was already sponsored by Roxy.
She was part of the meeting.
Yeah. No, she came to me because she need new stuff. She want to talk about new agreement, something, and she brings some pictures from Mauritius from the helicopter with with the rocks underwater, with the reef, and windsurfing on the big waves. She riding on the waves on the windsurf. Okay. Man, it's crazy thing.
Yeah, no, I saw the stuff you've posted about her. And just like, who is this person?
And I saw that pictures and like, God, can I please come with you once to take some pictures?
You asked her that?
Yeah. And she said, yeah, I tried to organize it. And we go to Mauritius in 2013.
When you asked her that, were you thinking she could be a potential mate for you? Or you just thought she's a coworker? Or what?
Coworker. I was married.
Oh, okay.
I was married before.
My man.
Yeah. No. All good. Yeah. And I go there and spend a month. No, not a month. Like 2 or 3 weeks in Mauritius. And we catch the biggest swell for the decade. And we hire a helicopter. There was a time, it was drones already in 2013, but we use a proper helicopter. Mm-hmm. And I took a picture with that waves, like 15, 20 meters. And I was...
From the waves?
From the helicopter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she ride on it. And like...
Oh, she was riding?
She riding.
She was windsurfing?
Yeah.
Not surfing?
Windsurfing.
Windsurfing.
It's much harder than surfing.
Is it?
Yeah, it's much harder. It's like that sport is dinosaurs. I mean, it's like your own yacht. Imagine you surfing on the yacht.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, it's really hard. And when I saw it, I sent the pictures. I made some pictures. I sent it to the magazines, and they got printed in Canada, in US, in Europe, everywhere. And I asked her like, why you didn't write for Red Bull if you are like one of the best athletes? And she said, I don't even think about it. And I made a presentation. We go to Red Bull, and she signed a contract next year,
no
2014.
Way.
After that.
Wow. So the photos that you took from her helped her become a Red Bull person?
Yeah, of course.
To some extent. I mean, not totally.
All athletes made something. The first thing, they made it because they want to do that. But the second, they made it because of the photographers and videographers capture that. Exactly. And you are part of the thing. But it's actually a bad thing also, because once I took a picture of my friend. She's one of my best friends, Aliona. She lived here also, actually in LA, in Huntington Beach. And she broke her back. So this is the other part of the action sport photography. And they did it also because of you. And you feel it also that was the reason why they took it.
What happens in Russia when you are against the war? And then you are still staying there?
If you are a public person, you're in trouble. You can't call war. It's a special operation. And if you call it war, you are guilty. You go to prison first. You pay, then you go to prison, and from prison you go to the war.
They send you to the war,
Yeah.
to the front line.
Yeah,
So
to the front line.
yeah. So first they put you in prison, then they try to kill you.
Yeah. So that's the thing. You don't have too many options. If you are a man also, so you have to go.
Then for sure you have to go. So then you decided to take. You have a wife and you have 2 kids.
Yeah.
And you decided to get everyone out. And what happened after that?
I flew to the next day. I flew to Egypt, where they were, and then we go to Portugal, because Portugal is only one country in the European Union where it's easy to get a papers to live there.
Okay.
We have European visas only, so we go there for like 2-3 years, almost 3 years, and organize our lives there
In Portugal.
in Portugal.
And that's where you were thinking, what's the next step? What's the next thing for me?
But before Portugal, during COVID time, I'm thinking, during COVID, you are not allowed to travel a lot, you remember?
Of course.
To different countries. And I'm thinking, maybe I can get a special visa to United States, because I travel to United States often, almost every year.
Mm-hmm.
And a visa called Talented Visa, O1. And I'm applying for that visa. And it was before war started. During the war, I moved to Lisbon, and then I got that documents in Portugal. I finally got a letter from the U.S. Embassy that they approve it. But in that time, I understand it's not a visa, it's a green card. So it's even more.
Better.
In Portugal, yeah, I got all documents for U.S. and we tried to move here because it's obviously the biggest market in the world.
Russia's market in photography. Can you tell us a little bit about what is it like to be a professional photographer in Russia? Is it a good market? Is it a mature market? Is it an emerging market? Like, what's it like?
It was a good market. It's a big country. And of course, with a lot of territory, with a lot of beautiful places, with a lot of talented athletes, and a lot of brands was represented there. All global brands like a RedBull, Quick Silver, and I work with them, Oakley.
Yeah.
And work there was really nice. But we all the time looking to US, to Europe, and you're thinking that somewhere is better.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I would say that the market in Russia was pretty big.
Strong.
Yeah.
It's like Mexico and Brazil. They're very strong markets right now. Like Mexico, everyone's buying things in Mexico. Brazil too. Mm-hmm. And Russia too. United States is a more mature market. So people here slow down on the purchasing a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's true.
But when you came here from Portugal, you tried to get some sort of job at just any job at
any job.
At a cruise ship.
Yeah, I'm a professional immigrant.
Tell us about that cruise ship situation, because that's
so.
that's something.
No, let's start how it happened. How it started. Imagine during Portugal. In Portugal, I have to start work also to find a work, and I worked 2 years at school. At normal school, it was a private school, and because I work there, my kids goes to that school also, and I work as a content director and I leading a social media in school. And in one day, imagine I have to take a picture of 400 kids in front of Christmas tree.
Okay.
I'm as an action sport photographer, ambassador of different brands, winner of the contest. I'm sitting on the chair with a line of 400 children who is crying, happy or not, and you have to make a pictures. And I'm thinking like, how I end up here in that situation, and should I happy with that, or what should I do? I've been in Antarctica, I climbed the Kilimanjaro, I travel a lot, and then now I'm sitting in Lisbon in front of 400 kids, and this is my job to make a picture for social media and for the present for the parents. And then I realized that I love photography in general, and I love to take pictures, and I try to do my best. That's the key thing. First thing, you have to love what you do, and second, you try to do your best. Whatever it's, a low budget session or high budget session, you have to do maximum all your life.
Always.
And I try to do that, and a few parents came to me after and said, "Oh, it was the best pictures of our kids." I understand which kind of photographers working for the schools for Christmas pictures for the kids. Yeah, and I'm sitting with that top gear, with the top lenses. And it was fun. And then, I moved again to the United States, and I have to find a job, any kind of job. And I'm thinking like, I don't want to work at Uber, but I want to be a photographer. And I'm looking different kind of jobs. And I opened LinkedIn, and I found a role. It's called cruise ship photographer. And I'm thinking, oh, at least it's a photographer word. I need to apply for that job. And then I got an answer that they...
Where did you find this ad? It was like an ad on the paper?
Yeah.
LinkedIn.
LinkedIn, yeah.
LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And there was cruise ship photographer needed.
Yeah.
And you're like, that's it.
I sent 10. I applied 10 jobs, 20 jobs every day last month.
It's funny because you seem completely overqualified to be a cruise ship photographer. Like you work with the biggest brands in the world for action and sports and adventure. And because you're in America now, you got to start all over.
Yeah, nobody knows me. Yeah.
Nobody knows you. All this stuff, back to zero.
Oh, no, but I have experience.
You have
That's
experience.
The thing.
But
That's the
in
thing.
terms of like the people and whatever.
Exactly.
Nothing.
Exactly. Nobody knows me from... I try to establish contacts from the, European offices between Americans. But here's everybody's so busy. You can get an answer from email. You can organize a personal meeting. Everybody wants to chat with you in the social media or I don't know, e-meetings. I hate it because when you speak with the people, normally...
Cheers. Normal. You want to have a drink with them and see them in the eyes. But, America, it's a lot of, I'll just email you.
Yeah.
We'll talk on social media.
Yeah. So, and I'm applying to different positions. I try to reach the sport companies also. Yeah.
Off topic real quick, just as a joke. Whatever happened to people just getting on the phone? Like, is that like a thing that's in the past? I mean, I can get 1,000 times more information on a 5-minute phone call with a client or with somebody or the brand than going back and forth through email, back and forth. It's like, I have a question, I have to wait 2 days for the answer. Then I have another question, then I have to wait 3 days for the answer. And it's like, guys, let's just pick up the phone. This is called a phone right here. You can just pick it up.
You can call it.
And you can push, there's a little button, there's a little thing with has a little green icon, it has a phone on it. You can actually call people. All right.
You pay for that, actually.
You pay for this.
You pay not only for internet in your phone. That's true.
Okay, so back to the cruise ship. So you are trying to apply for this cruise
position,
ship.
yeah.
Okay.
And then I got the mail that they said, I'm not good enough.
You're not good enough.
Yeah.
We
are sorry.
Are not good enough to be a cruise ship. They
Yeah.
take the worst of the worst. Well, not really. There are some good photographers there. But everybody knows cruise ship photographer is kind of like... See, we're laughing. It's like, we shouldn't laugh. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I just think... You don't think like that's like the ultimate goal for somebody's career is to be a cruise ship.
Yeah, but imagine, after I'm sitting in front of 400 kids, believe me, cruise ship photographer...
Would be fine.
Would be fine. So they said, I'm not good enough. And then it's one email in my mailbox. The second one, I came from India. 2 weeks ago, there was a huge photo festival. And they invited me to be part of that festival in the exhibition. Mm-hmm. And that part of exhibition called Global Icons Photographers. And I said, oh, wow. First time somebody calls me a global icon. So I've been like a...
Sounds really legit and really badass.
Yeah. Like I've been a most talented photographer.
It's like those...
professional, best photographer, but never talented icons.
This is kind of funny. It makes me think of those... you know how there's like a big plethora of photo competitions all over the world, and they have these names for people who win that are so out there, that is so far out there. Like one of the titles is like Master of the Universal Universe of the Galaxies, the greatest of all time, or greatest photographer in history of the cosmos. But it's like, come on, man. We have these titles, but okay. But anyway, so
it came from India. It's also, that kind of country who like...
Yeah, they do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
they do that.
Yeah.
Oh. We do that in America too. But.
I got it. Okay, my picture's exposed, but actually it's a huge festival, so it's good. Then the third email from France that I won the national competition in the sport category, sport for the competition. And I'm thinking, like, okay, in France I won competition. In India, my picture's in the exhibition. But in the US, I'm not good enough for a cruise ship photographer. Like, and you have to wake up in the morning. Yeah, it's normal.
So sad.
Yes, no, it's not sad. It's our lives. You have to wake up every day. You have to, smile. Wake up your kids. make a breakfast, go to school with them, then come back and do what you love. That's what my mother said to me. You have to find what you love and make it as a job. Because if it's happened another way and you're sitting every day in the work that you don't like, you will have to speak with the people, with that managers. Imagine there's some manager in the company, they don't like her job or his job, whatever. And you try to organize and make a project with them. And the manager represents a brand. And then you spend hours and hours to send days, to send emails back and after. That's because that people are not happy maybe.
Does anybody like their job though? Like besides photographers? You know, I mean, I just wonder, like every time I talk to people that work in any kind of office job or anything, nobody's happy. Nobody's happy. I don't know who's if
No, I'm so happy.
if you guys are listening to this podcast and you're happy with your job and you're not a photographer or you're not in the arts, put it on the comments what you
Please.
do. Put it in the comments what you do, and also write any questions you may have or comments you may have in the comments. So Kirill can actually look at them and maybe you can chime in too.
Yeah, but
You know,
I
but-
saw that happy people.
Yeah.
Of course, and everybody thinking like photographers, it's a best job in the world.
Yeah, it is.
But it's also a lot of other sides
Stress, very
of the coins. Yeah, very stressed.
There's this thing of getting paid that's very difficult. I wrote a book called The Successful Professional Photographer. I thought it would be the book that everybody would buy in a heartbeat.
Yeah,
It's just a book, it costs nothing. But the information in that book will change your career.
should I read it to start my career?
You should read this book.
Yes.
But it's funny because it is the lowest sold book out of all the 7 books I've written. This is the book that has sold the least. Why do you think that is? Why do you think photographers love, and me too, by the way,
Yeah.
to spend money on everything? Lighting, equipment, cameras, C-stands, drones, stuff for social media. But we don't like making money. We don't like making money. We just like to spend it. This book, The Successful Professional Photographer, honestly, I don't care that I wrote it. It's not that's not the point of this. The point is I wrote that with every ounce of skill that I have to make people successful, financially successful.
Oh, it's for me.
In the photo world.
It's for me because I never think about financially successful. I think about like, oh, somebody invite me to Antarctica. Okay, that's good. Let's go there. Let's do some pictures. Okay, I know how to organize it. Like I invite the brands, who support me, and then I have a budget for that. And in the end, I have enough money to living in Russia and travel through the world.
How does that work? Let's go with that real quick.
Yeah.
You work with these brands, RedBull, Quick Silver, everything. Are you the one that comes up with the idea for a photo shoot in Antarctica, or do they have an idea and then you come up with it? Like, how does this work?
Yeah. Okay. Nowadays, I don't know how it works in US, but nowadays in Europe and Russia, the photographer is not only the guy who pushes the button.
Right.
You have to be a manager. You have to get some idea, change it to the presentation, go to the meeting, present it, pitch it. Then, if they love it, find the sponsors, few sponsors. Then you have to go to the media, find a media who will.
Do you just call them and say, hey, I would like a presentation for a pitch that I want to give you guys? And then they say, yeah, come over at 4 p.m. on Wednesday. And then you just show up with your laptop or something?
No, you start with the small things. You start with, with the reportage photography of the event and said, oh, by the way, I have an idea, a crazy idea. You should love it. Yeah, you organize a meeting. You come with this meeting, present your idea, find a budget. Then you have to counting everything, buy tickets, organize, a ship, a yacht, whatever, planes, cars, rent a cars, book the hotels. And then in the end, when you come there, you said, okay, guys, I organize everything. Now my time to push the button.
Why can't you hire somebody to work on logistics for you when you're planning these projects?
On the big projects, I hired.
You do?
Yeah.
You do hire somebody?
Yeah.
Because you cannot do it all,
but
right?
I can do it all. The problem is that the circumstances and the place and the fields where I'm working, it's not workable for everybody. Yeah, somebody can work from the office, but my office is a mountains or an ocean or expedition ship, and I can't hire a person who's not ready for that condition. For example, last time I made an advertising shooting session in the mountains, and the models, usually I don't work with the models in the mountains. I work with the people.
The people that live there.
Who knows, how to walk in the mountains. But that time we work with the models because the company wants to see the models. And one model said, I don't want to go there. I'm scared.
Yeah.
But it was, almost nothing.
Yeah.
And we can't take that picture. So
that's models for you, man. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
They're sensitive.
Yeah.
What are the chances of you getting your project accepted out of how many pitches, out of all the pitches that you give to people or the companies? What is the percentage of the projects that get accepted and get financed?
Before war, how it was in my previous life, I would call it. Companies, because my name is a brand already, the companies came to me. For example, my surname, Umrikhin. Yeah?
Your name gets more complicated every time.
Yeah.
Let's just stop with your name. Everybody, erase that name from your memory.
There's a nice story. The first part of my name, translate in English like a die. It means nothing with death, but it's like...
Die?
Yeah, Umri is like die.
Wait, say your full name real quick. Say your full name.
Kirill Umrikhin.
Forget it.
Yeah,
forget it. That's
so
it.
The first part, it's meaning die. And I work a lot with a snowboard resort, the Olympic resort in Sochi. Yeah. And first years, they never write my name under the pictures because they're thinking like, oh, my surname is not connected with, winter sports. It's something, not good. But when my name became as the brand, and it's, a lot of companies use it as and work with me, like, oh, we really wants to write that picture made by Kirill, not other photographers. And so...
You're a pretty established brand. You're a pretty established name with brands.
Yeah.
But not in the United States.
No.
Or also in the United States.
Yep.
So you are well known with the brands in Europe, like Portugal and all Europe.
Yeah.
Okay. So you submit a proposal because you have an idea. The idea once is for you to go to Antarctica or something. That could cost $100,000 just for the plane, just for the for the ship.
12,000, and I will go in February. I still have 10 places in my ship.
Oh, wait a minute. Let's discuss that real quick.
Yeah.
What's happening? What are you and your wife put together? You and your wife put together something.
Yeah. So we organize a project.
Okay.
So some of the projects is my part. Some of the projects we're doing together. With my wife, we're doing camps, windsurf and surf camps in different places in the world. For example, Mauritius, it's our beloved island. We go there and teach people how to windsurf, and also we're doing whale watching and swimming with whales. That's how I took that pictures with the whales that you impressed. My part of the job, I organize expeditions, and usually I have few spots in that expeditions for travelers and photography lovers. And for example, in Antarctica, that I was last year in a yacht, we sailing from Chile to Antarctica and back. Next February, I organize that kind of expedition again, but this time we'll flew to Antarctica and then sailing in Antarctica and come back by plane. We don't cross the Drake Passage because Drake Passage is kind of a nightmare. Yeah. It's not kind of dangerous, but it's nightmare for the people who have a seasickness.
Like me.
You will love it.
I just look at a ship and I throw up, you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I just have to look at the ship.
But you have to know, nobody die because of seasickness.
Yes.
But it's beautiful at least 2 days.
Hey, man, I lose weight with all the throw up. So that's a good... Well, I don't need to lose weight anymore because I lost a lot of weight. But, I have
So it's a healthy thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and I organize that kind of expeditions for photography lovers. And we go together and take a...
And where can they find this information?
In my Instagram.
In your Instagram is there. How many spots do you have?
I have
not how many spots open. How many people do you take?
Overall, it's 20. Now I have 10 spots free still.
Okay, so you have 10 spots for these crazy adventures, and this is
and it
in
costs
Antarctica.
nothing for American market. It's cost only 12,000. It's nothing. If you go to the other websites, I look at it's like 30,000.
No, I know because I have there's a Canon Explorer of Light guy that works in Antarctica a lot, and I tried to ask him if I could go with him, but the ticket for Antarctica, just the ship, I think it was like 20 grand per
Yeah.
person.
Exactly.
So 12,000 is an incredible. I don't even know how you did that.
And you know what is the worst thing about that cruise ships? So I saw it a lot in Antarctica. It's beautiful. You can stay in a beautiful room, with a big bed, with a private bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you stop somewhere and put anchor, you have to stay in the line to sit on the Zodiac boat, small boat, and go somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And they also make a path by the flags. And you're not allowed to go left or go right. You have to follow the instruction of the team leader.
Yes.
In the yacht, we have only 20 people. And for example, we saw a whale, and I go to captain deck and said, please stop engine. And we stop engine, and we look on the whales everywhere. You can do that on the cruise ship. That's why I go all the time with a small ship, only with the 20 people. You don't have to stay in the line. But you don't have a big cabin.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
Kirill, you have traveled to more exotic places than anyone I've ever met. Like, just look at your Instagram. Like, let's just look at it real quick. Guys, if you're listening to this podcast, get the Instagram going, because as I do this podcast, I'm going to be looking at this stuff. But this stuff looks unbelievable. Like, you have some sort of Sinai desert. You have Antarctica.
Yeah, it's Egypt to allow it.
Egypt. I mean, you just came back from the Bahamas. There's stuff with penguins. There's like this skateboarder, crazy things. And then you have photos of your wife with a ginormous whale. And it's like, let me see if I can see it in the camera. Like,
whale,
guys, like, look at this thing. Like, what? Can you tell us a little bit about what?
Relax. It's just the pictures.
No, I am living my dream life through you a little bit, because I live a very restrictive life. Basically, I don't really get out much. My kids, my wife's not much of an adventurer, so she's like a homebody, and we're so busy we don't really have much time to go out. But I'm dying to go to these places, and I'm dying to go to these locations that you've been to. Can you tell us a little bit about two things? What's it like to get to these exotic destinations?
You have to buy tickets for the most of the destinations. Mm-hmm. For example, Mauritius. Right, I traveled there from 2013 when I met with my wife.
Mauritius is where exactly?
Mauritius in the
Africa,
Indian Ocean.
Indian Ocean.
Yeah, it's close to Madagascar.
Okay.
And it's one of the best places for windsurfing. There is a unique wave called One Eye. That's why we go there often. And then we start swimming with the whales, because not so many places allowed to swim with whales. For example, in California, there is a lot of whales, but you can come close to them. Second place where you can swim with whales, it's Tonga Island in Pacific Ocean.
Okay, so you can here in the United States, whatever, you cannot be.
You can come close to the whale.
Close to the whale.
Yeah.
But in Mauritius, which is by the Indian Ocean.
Yeah, you can't come close to the whale,
Yeah.
but the whale can come close to you. And if you know the spot where they're living and you start swimming, they going close by.
Have you ever been close to a whale like that?
Once one whale bumped me. That's really interesting. There was a baby whale, and they are very interesting creatures. Imagine we live as humans. We live like 500,000 years on the Earth. Whales live million years of the Earth, like whales, and they understand everything what's happening around them. They can speak with each other on the 1,000 kilometers, like 500 miles. Say something like, "Hey, how are you doing?" and get answers from the 100 miles away. And because of their
signals,
they made the signals. Yeah,
they can talk.
Yeah, and they have some kind of sensors, like in Teslas, to understand, and they can scan everything what's happening around them. And when I swim with the camera and take pictures, you feel it like it's like clicking, like tick 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 tick, and you click and they try to recognize you, and they don't interesting you because the food, the giant calamari, you're nothing, you're a piece of trash in the ocean for them maybe. And they usually, if you not disturb them, they go straight. Yeah. And you understand, like, it's not a good idea to stay in front of the train because whale is huge, like a train.
Yeah.
And you try to go away. But there, in that situation, was this baby whale who turned and goes straight to me.
Oh,
and actually, I shit in the pants, like, and
yeah,
I pedaling away.
I would too.
And it was like that, like a bump and gone.
Oh, so that whale actually bumped you?
Yeah.
What kind of whale was this?
Sperm whale.
Oh my God. But your wife has been like on the Instagram, she like swims with these whales.
Yeah.
And
She doing free dive. She dived for 30 meters deep without scuba.
you're married to like Iron Woman, like some
Water
super
woman.
amazing-
Water woman.
Wonder Woman. Some
Water.
amazing-
Water.
Water Woman.
Yeah.
And Wonder Woman, because she's
Yeah.
pretty amazing. I think.
Oh, thanks. Yeah.
Okay, so you're in the ocean. You're not throwing up because you don't get seasick,
Yeah.
and you are trying to capture these things. Who
Pay for that?
No, well, that also, but tell us, like, what is your camera setup? Like, do you have lights with these things? Is there like specific features that
You need an underwater camera house.
Yeah.
Of course, obviously. I use it with a Californian brand Outex. It's a
Okay.
soft camera house. It's
Soft
really
one?
nice. Yeah, soft one. Like a
What's it called again?
Outex.
Outex?
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
really nice, guys. It's the best one. Not like that bulky thing, metal thing where you're really hard to swim.
Yeah.
No.
And you can put any kind of camera, like any professional mirrorless camera there.
anything with any kind of lens till 70-100. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's soft light and you can travel. I use drones, of course. I use regular cameras and drones because by the drones you actually can find whales,
Of course.
from above.
How much are these underwater housings that you're talking about? Because I've seen some at
It's
B&H and they're very
700.
expensive. That's it?
Yeah. That's
700.
Yeah. I found them in Instagram advertising.
Yeah.
And then I bought one, and I bought it like 6 years ago, and I use it everywhere, like with the surfing, with the whales, with the free diving. I dive with that box on like 15 meters. On 15 meters, it's like, because of the pressure.
Yeah.
And the box started to pushing every buttons.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's going inside. But
Okay.
it still works. All cameras still alive.
If you have to choose one lens, because you can only choose one lens, right? You cannot choose 2 or 3. You cannot go underwater with 3 lenses. It's not like you're shooting a wedding, right? So what is the lens you go to when you're shooting this?
To Antarctica or underwater?
Let's do the underwater one first.
Oh, it's a widest lens, like 14
Wide.
or
14.
fisheye, 14, 20.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And what about Antarctica? I guess
400 2.8.
400 2.8.
The best lens ever.
Yeah.
The
That is
lightest.
a sweet,
But
milky,
the new lens
Swiss
has got-
chocolate lens, man.
Yeah, you have to.
Yeah.
Even when you take a picture from the sailing boat,
Yeah.
but it's the best lens. For the sport, for everything. Even with the new, that switch to extender inside built-in extender, like 1.4. It's 400, and then it became a 600 with 4.
But what about like a penguin gets close to you, then you cannot?
You can
Like-
come close to the world.
Wouldn't it be better to get like a telephoto zoom lens, like a 100 to 500? Like, I don't know, Canon making.
I love bokeh. I love it. I love
Yeah.
blurred background.
But then you have to just keep walking back if the penguin keeps walking towards you, and it's not so flexible. But that's okay because you have space.
Yeah.
Right. You're not standing in some sort of glacier or anything like that.
Yeah, but
Right?
I prefer quality than the zoom.
Are you freezing your ass completely when you're shooting these things in Antarctica? Like, does it prevent you from doing your job, or
Yeah.
is that something you worry about, or is it just like gloves? You're good to go.
I would say if my camera can survive, I can survive. that's my thing. Yeah, of course I use a proper stuff. I'm from Russia. It's cold country. It's a winter country. I took a pictures once in the Elbrus mountain. It's the highest mountain in Europe. It's based in Russia. It's like 5,600 meters. So let's say it's more than 20,000 feet. Yeah, something like that. And I took a picture on 4,000 meters. It's 16,000 feet with a temperature of minus 40 degrees below zero. So I can't change it to Fahrenheit, but believe me, it was nightmare. My tripod broken on 2 pieces because the metal on the temperatures is easily to break.
So this is what I'm saying. Like, there's gotta be you must have like specialized equipment for this kind of temperatures.
But in Antarctica, I go in summer.
In summer, when you're shooting these things,
Yeah.
you can. I'm assuming you cannot change your camera settings as easily as I can in my fashion world. Like,
Yeah.
you have to kind of have like you have to have like an idea, and then you put your settings, and then you put your gloves, and then you kind of.
No, with the
go
gloves,
that.
it's not a big problem. Underwater, you can't. Of course, you need to fix everything before you go.
Right.
Yeah. So usually I use aperture priority,
Yeah, aperture priority.
full open aperture,
Yeah.
ISO about like 400 to 800,
Yeah.
and then it should works.
This is a good chance to use like auto ISO.
Yes, you can do it.
This is some of the camera settings that when people buy these cameras,
Yeah.
they look at these auto ISOs and they never know what's it for, but it's for things like this. It's for things where you cannot really be changing your settings all the time. So auto ISO.
But the camera doesn't know how fast the object in front of you.
Yeah, but you can limit it.
Limited what, like
The ISO you can
less?
say-
No, it's so yes. Limited on
say-
the minimum.
Yeah, minimum. You can say ISO 400 is the minimum, ISO 1600 is the maximum, and then it will increase the shutter speed automatically because you have to shoot at ISO 400.
Do you know when I use automatically ISO? When I take a reportage pictures in the bar and I
Yeah.
drink a lot of shots.
Yeah, that's when you use that feature.
that's the time to switch.
It's funny because, this is like a quirky thing of mine, but I do like to, before I go to bed, this is like, you guys can laugh at me if you want, but I like to go through the menus and I like to memorize them. Okay? I know. I'm a very fun person, but I like to memorize. Not only I like to memorize, I like to test myself. Like I say, I want to do this, and then what menu is that in? Or I would like to try that, or I put myself in a situation where, like, what if I'm in a situation like where I'm in the Serengeti and I see like a cheetah starting to take off? Like, what would be my settings then? And then I try to do it in my camera before I go to bed, and I try to experiment with my camera with all these menu things that most people never touch.
Yeah.
And getting to know my camera to that point has been one of the crucial things I have been able to do in my career, because when I have an idea, when I have an idea in my head, I'm like, how can the camera, the money that I spend on this technology, how can this technology actually help me?
Yeah, you don't need to
achieve
spend
that?
the time to find the proper function. But
Exactly.
let me ask you, how many years you take pictures?
20 now.
20 now. So
Yeah.
that means probably you start with the film photography.
No, I actually started with the Canon 20D. So
I started
it was
with
like-
the Canon 300.
Yeah.
300D. That was my first camera.
Yeah, 300D. Yeah,
Yeah.
20D was my first camera.
It was my second.
And my first lens that I ever bought was something crazy. I didn't even know I didn't know what a floating aperture was on the lens.
Yeah.
So I just, there was this lens that was like 28 to 300.
I know that lens.
28 to 300.
I bought 28 to 135 lens.
28 to 135.
Yeah.
I mean, that's more reasonable.
Yeah.
But 28 to 300. And then when I went to shoot my first wedding with this lens, every time I would zoom into 300, the aperture would close like crazy. And I would be like, oh my gosh, the photo's dark now. I can't do this. And of course, back then I didn't know my camera because I was just like everyone else. I didn't read the manual, or I didn't practice, or I didn't study the camera. So I didn't know how to change it. Look, I should have never taken a lens like that, because that lens, when you zoomed to 300, the aperture was like f11 or something.
Uh-huh.
It was some terrible aperture. It was like, it starts like at f4 and it goes up to like
F8.
f16 or something.
16. No, 8. Should be 4.
11, whatever it was. It was some terrible.
No, I ask you because I was lucky to start with the film photography, and I call it lucky because with the film you can't make that mistakes because you never know how it ended up in your pictures. And my father, he gives me, do you know Zenit cameras? It's a Soviet Union old stylish cameras. Film cameras produced in my home city, and my grandfather was the main architect of that fabric, and he prized me my first camera. And my father trained me. He said, okay, the exposure now like 400 ISO, and of course you can change the film installed 400, and then shutter speed is like 1 of 200 and f 5.6. If I change aperture, what's happened with the shutter speed? If I change shutter speed, what happened with the aperture?
You play these games with you.
I play with my father.
This is what I do when I go to bed, which is totally nerdy, but whatever.
So I played in this game when I was in school.
Nerd power!
Okay.
To nerds.
To nerds? Wow. So yeah, and the film photography, it gives you strange. It's really helps you when you switch afterwards to digital and you see results instead on the screen.
Do you think photography now, with the cameras, the crazy autofocus systems that we have, now we have in the new Canon cameras, they have pre-shooting now where you can press the shutter halfway and it starts taking pictures, 20 pictures per second.
Before you push the button
all the way. Are we becoming sort of obsolete a little bit in your mind? Or are we... Because back in the film days, you used to have to hire a professional photographer to shoot a photo of you. And you pay them because you couldn't do it yourself.
Yeah.
Nowadays...
You can take a phone.
Literally, not even the phone. Even if you buy like an SLR, a mirrorless camera, it can pretty much do everything. So are we better off or are we worse off? What do you think?
I can tell you, all my career, I heard something like, "Oh, digital cameras never gonna be a professional cameras. All professional photographers will stay with film cameras only." Then we see a good digital cameras, DSLR. Then I heard like, "Oh, photo will die because video, you can make a videos and then, you don't need a photography because you can take any shots from video and photography will die." And it's not happen. It gives us opportunity and comfort in our work. For example, I took a pictures last days of boxing. I never used that pre-shoot actually because it's using only in JPEG format. I prefer RAW. But 20 shots per second, follow focus. Yeah. It's amazing.
People used to shoot, this is funny. I never would consider shooting RAW. Sorry, JPEG, never. I always shoot RAW, right? I always do. But I just came from a Canon event where they were showcasing the Canon R1. And they were explaining all these things about the features. And a lot of these features, the camera is going to be shooting in JPEG for the pre-shooting and whatever it is. If I'm not mistaken, I could be mistaken, but I'm not. But I feel like the technology is so good that it's pretty easy to nail perfect exposure and perfect color in a JPEG.
And sharpness, yeah.
In sharpness. And I don't know about you, but like my hard drives, like they're just with the 30 frames per second that these cameras can take now. Like I just have the Canon R5 Mark II, and it takes 45 megapixels, 30 frames per second. So you buy a 2 terabyte SSD and it will last you a week.
Yeah.
That's it. It will last you a week and you're done.
Yeah, I did.
But why not shoot JPEG? I mean, I was thinking like, I'm not going to miss an exposure. I'm not going to miss the color of a photo because the color is baked in on a JPEG file. What do you think about that in your field, in your world? Is JPEG acceptable? You're not shooting...
No. Imagine you go somewhere to Antarctica and then somebody asks you to make a print, like a huge print. I always try to keep the best quality in my camera and keep it, and of course, only RAW because I love to work to edit my own pictures.
Yeah.
Work with the colors to add some, film colors. I love it, some grain.
So do you use that compact RAW feature that most cameras have? Is that something that...
Only for maybe wedding photography.
For what kind of photography?
Wedding.
You shoot weddings too?
In US, I started doing again.
Man, you just have to do everything yourself. You just have to do everything.
I love photography in general. As I said, I love photography. And the wedding photography, actually, you can joking, but wedding photography, it's one of the most important photography for the people. Imagine if you fucked up with something.
Yeah.
We can repeat a session with advertising photography, right? We can ask.
Kind of.
But we can. It's gonna be expensive, but it's possible.
Yeah.
People can repeat his wedding, and if something happened with your camera, card, lens, sharpness, whatever.
Yeah. I wrote 3 books on wedding photography.
Yeah.
Called Wedding Storyteller Volume 1, Wedding Storyteller Volume 2. And then the third one, we called it A Successful Professional Photographer.
Yeah.
The reason why I ended up with 3 is because when my publisher and I decided to write a book on weddings, I didn't realize that shooting a wedding is one thing, but writing a book on how to shoot a wedding is extremely complicated.
Yeah,
and because you go into rabbit holes after rabbit hole after rabbit hole. I consider the books that I wrote the biggest joy of everything I've ever written, besides the last one, the flash book I just wrote. But I consider the wedding books a real joy because tell me if you agree or disagree, but wedding photography to me is the most difficult kind of photography you can master.
Exactly.
Master, not be good at. Master.
Yeah,
Like
it's emotional. It's hard. It's fast.
it's physical.
It's never repeatable.
Not repeatable. It is. You have no control over the weather, no control of the location, no control
Light.
of the lighting. You have 5 mixed lighting colors. The ceremony has like the church or whatever. If it's at a church, it has like tinted colored windows, and then you have the light coming from a ceiling, and you're just like, what am I doing? And then you cannot blink, because you blink, you miss something. You go to the bathroom, you miss everything. You have to be fast.
So challenging.
Yeah.
It's really challenging. Yeah.
Challenging. You have to be a portrait photographer. You have to be
Reportage photographer.
a reportage photographer or photojournalism.
Right.
Yeah. Then you have to be able to have eyes in the back of your head, and then you have to capture like the most difficult, like bride and groom, which are awkward, and they are in front of the camera, and you try to replicate emotional moments that look real and legit, and you have to do this with 10 minutes because that's all you have, because the coordinator's screaming at you. I tell people, man, you want to be a great
Believe
photographer.
me, Roberto, if you come to
weddings.
Russia, to Russian typical wedding, not expensive wedding, typical one, it's going to be more challenging, because it's really often thing when somebody wants to fight with a photographer.
Who wants to fight with a photographer?
Some of the guests, why you take a picture of me?
Really?
Why I need to smile? I don't want to smile.
Man, are you kidding me right now?
No, it's very typical thing. They're all. It's like
Russian?
a wedding finished with a fight.
Oh my gosh, that's so amazing.
And because you're a photographer, you're always in the middle of something. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why, in my opinion, when you shoot weddings, I have to have the same camera 3 times. The same model.
Yeah.
Because I used to shoot weddings with like my right camera had like one model, and the other camera on my left had another. It was another camera. So when I was trying to be super fast, I was not able to do it because
change the lenses,
buttons,
yeah.
the buttons were different. The menus were different. A little bit was different. Same brand camera, but different cameras. In fashion, you can do that, but in weddings, you really can't.
You don't have time to change
you
the
don't have
lenses.
time.
Yeah, you need a wide lens, then you need a 50 millimeters. Yeah.
There was a period in my life, in my career, where I used to go to a wedding with 15 lenses, and I used to switch it. Like if I wanted to shoot a picture of the rings, I just used to like put a macro lens on.
Yeah.
If I wanted to do a photo of the bride and groom, I used to use my 70-200. And then if I wanted to get like a photo of the bride, I used to use my 135, 1.8 or something really like prime. The prime lenses, people love to talk about primes because they say they're sharper and all that, which is bullshit.
No, it's not about sharper. It's about the
background. That I agree with, but it's not sharper.
No.
Nobody
needs a sharp. Nobody needs a sharp anymore.
Yeah. People say like, oh, I like the way it's sharp. It's like, it's not sharp. It's not any sharp. And if it is...
You can make sharp picture on your iPhone.
Yeah, you can make sharp picture on the iPhone. I don't understand, but some of the best weddings I shot was when I minimized my lens use.
Of course.
I minimized
Yeah.
it. Instead of bringing 15 lenses and having to carry that and worry about them getting stolen.
Wide, portrait,
Yeah.
and tele, like 7-100,
And
24-70 or 35 millimeter even.
Yeah.
I like to use like 14 millimeters
Yeah.
wide, with a bride dress. Sometimes is really nice. And 50 millimeter 1.2, best one, best lens.
I feel like if you're trying to go for the really dramatic photos, then you take them with the primes, with like a 40 millimeter prime or all these things. But if you're trying to get the best story, you kind of have to do it through zoom lenses because they can capture the story way better than primes can.
Of course.
A prime, you have to like measure distance and
wide.
The moment has
up.
to be at the right distance, and with the zoom you can and get into that moment and you can get it. So as a photographer in this field, you have to think: Am I trying to capture the ultimate story, or am I trying to capture the ultimate drama and like exciting images like that are going to be for like maybe competition or something?
You showed me last time 24-70 2.0.
2.0, yeah. That lens kind of covers it all. Yeah,
That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Like when Canon came out with the 28-70 2.0, I pretty much just couldn't believe it.
It's like
I put that lens on, and I've never taken it off because why would I take it off? Yes, it's big and heavy, but it's better than carrying 15 lenses. And that pretty much substitutes for all 15. Let's go back to you. What is the scariest moment in your travels
Or
that you
once
were
I
taking
almost
a
died.
photo with a bull? With a bull.
Yeah,
You did a photo with a bull. Guys, go to his Instagram. Go to his Instagram.
The joke. I go to take pictures of sailing and almost died because of the bull. That was a joke of my life.
The bull?
Yeah.
Oh, because you were in Spain or something?
No, it was in Portugal, in Azores Islands. And it was already finished of all expedition. And we go back to Marina, and then next day I have to fly back to on the close to the road everywhere. And I ask a lady, local lady, like, why all of these people are here? They said, she said, nothing. I said, no, Portuguese people never spend a day in the street, like, all together. And she said, because of bull will run soon here. I said, bull, stop a bus. And then I jump out, and then, I understood it's like a Spanish corrida, the bull running on the street. But in Portugal, it's different. They don't kill the bull after. So they let the bull running on the street, and then they push him back, I don't know, to somewhere, to the farm. And then I took a few pictures how bull running from the fence, and I decided that angle from the top, it's not interesting. And I jump on the road. The bull running back.
Wait, you have 2 kids, right?
And a wife.
And a wife. And you're
and my wife,
and you
my
decided
mother.
to jump on the road with a bull.
Yeah, but I didn't understand how dangerous is it. It's just a bull, I can jump back to the fence, and I jumped, but I hit my camera against the fence, and I think, that is not the best place. And I found on the other side of the road the fence, like, I don't know, half a meter, 1 meter, and I stay on that. And after that, it's just a drop, a few meters drop. And the bull is running away, and I saw a lot of people who run against the bull, and it's not looked scary for me. After that, I opened the Wikipedia and wrote that somebody dies. But in that moment, I didn't realize it. And so the bulls stay in front of me, and the problem was they have a rope to that 5 guys who push him in that scary situation.
So the bull has this little protection on the horns to make them a little dull.
Yeah.
So it doesn't completely kill you and stab you. I mean, it's going to kill you anyway.
Yeah,
but
it's not like a sharp knife, but it still can, So what happened next? I staying on that fence, and the bull, when they go that way and then goes back, the rope goes to that 5 guys in white who can stop the bull if something goes crazy. The bull goes round of his balls.
What?
The rope goes round of his legs and balls.
To his balls?
Yeah, I have a sequence of the shots, and I saw it clearly after.
Of course you do.
And he became crazy, and they saw me, and I have a video, and he tried to kick me, and I jumped.
Because he was pissed about his balls being squeezed by the rope?
Maybe. And I jumped from like few meters down and twist my feet a little bit.
Yeah.
And after that, a bull goes around and hit the guy, and the guy flying in the air, and then land on the asphalt and go to the hospital.
Oh my God!
Yeah. So, and in that moment, I realized how I were lucky.
Yeah.
But when I come back home, you ask me about 2 kids. My wife listened to that story, and I walk back home like with a twisted foot, and I need to go there to work, and she looked at me like, "You're stupid."
Yeah.
But
most wives think we're stupid anyway.
Yeah. But
basically, it's like my name now.
Other time in the ocean, Mauritian Ocean, Mauritian Island and the Indian Ocean, I saved one tourist who was dying in the ocean in the wave. He get washed. He get ripped by the current. Yeah, tourist. He snorkeler. He's swimming around of the atoll and got catched by the rip current. Comes to the reef spot where we're shooting in the end of the day. And got washed on the rocks.
Yeah.
And we try to rescue him, and I give him a rope. He can catch it first time, then second time he catch it, and we push him outside. But the wave came, and we have to jump by the boat from the 8 meters wave, and we flew. The people who staying on the beach saw the boat in the air, and we land on the flat water. The camera girl, she broke her feet 2 times. I injured a little bit, but we saved the guy. That probably was the scariest moment.
You probably have, in your mind, when you go to bed, you probably have so many of these stories.
I will write a book for my kids later.
You read a book. What was the most fun adventure you've had in your trips that you can, when you think in your deathbed, what was the trip of a lifetime? Which one was that?
The last year, maybe trip for Antarctica when we crossed the Drake Passage. That was a challenging because, or I don't know, climbing to Kilimanjaro. I never climbed to the high mountains, and I saw a lot of excited people who really like motivated to go to the top. And I stay close to them in all group, and I said, I'm not motivated. I just want to have fun. And I climb, you have to climb whole night. You climb all week, but the last piece, you have to climb from 12 a.m. to the sunrise time.
Okay.
And I climb at night alone with a heavy camera backpack. And that altitude, every kilogram in your backpack is counting, like 10 times more.
Oh, yeah.
And I grab my camera, 3 lenses. Maybe I need 200 millimeters to take, a picture of the glacier. And I walk slowly, and it's like plenty time to thinking, like, what I'm doing there, why I climb up. Like, all of these people so motivated to climb to the top, but I just want to have fun, and I have fun. Just, relaxing, look around, it's nice views, full moon, I don't need to use my torch,
Do you run to danger?
No, run against the danger.
I feel like just talking to you.
I don't want to die.
You're the guy that's like, oh, danger? Yeah, sign me up. Let's go there.
I tell you, like my mother, she is a psychologist.
A what?
A psychologist. Psychologist, right?
Oh, psychologist. Okay.
Not psychologist. Yeah.
Psychiatrist?
No, psychology. Like with the people who help you.
Oh, a therapist?
Yeah, therapist.
Yeah.
Yeah, mind therapist. How's it called in English? Whatever. And all her life, she thinking that the people who doing action sports, they are potentially wants to make a suicide. So they try to push themselves close to the death.
Yes.
And she felt that. But after I work at that market like more than 10 years, and my wife, she's a professional athlete, she once called me and said like, okay, I understand. The people who doing action sports, they are most happiest people. They do that not because they want to die. They do that because they want to be happy. If they want to ride on the wave, climb to the mountains, I don't know, dive to the cave, whatever, sailing on the yacht, they want to be happy. So...
Why was the Kilimanjaro trip for? Was that for a company job?
I was a team leader, again, with a group of people, photographers and just travel lovers.
Okay.
And the company who organized the trip to the mountains, they called me and said like, do you want to go there? I said, oh, I've never been there. Yeah, of course I wanted to go there.
What about the Antarctica trip? Was that for a company or was that an expedition for yourself?
Expedition again. Part of the people was the scientist, part of the people was the tourists.
What is are the people from Red Bull? Are they pretty like the persons that hire you to do jobs? Are they pretty easy to satisfy? Or are they pretty picky? Like, is it like National Geographic type?
It depends. People with for Red Bull, I would say the Red Bull is a top company in the action sport, and it's biggest challenge with the athlete, not with how you capture the athlete. If it's athlete can do that or not. And actually, that's the other question, because the level of the action sports is so high now that the people should risk more and more. And imagine if it's just an athlete or it's this athlete, your wife. That's the question. Because when my wife staying on the beach and said, like, should I go there? You can't say no, because it's her life. And she also would be so happy if she can do that. But also you can say yes, because it's dangerous.
Yeah.
So
that's
it's
not gonna happen for me, man. Like if there's 1% of danger, my wife's like, I'm out.
Compared to living in LA, for example, it's also dangerous to being in the street at night, cross the road, driving the car.
This neighborhood over here. But look, you can see the Hollywood Mountain right there. That's pretty cool. It's funny because I've lived in LA for 20 years, but I've never seen any kind of danger. But my friend Andre, who's going to be on this podcast at some point, he was a police officer here for 25, 30 years. And he was telling me about the stuff that he sees in LA. And I'm like, what?
My friend got killed
city?
here on the street in downtown about 6 years ago.
Here in downtown?
He got shot. Just trained guys to stop in the car in front of him, open the window, and kill him. And gone.
For what reason?
For nothing. And then he killed sheriff, and then he got caught and go for prison. I don't know, for whole life. But you know that it's dangerous around of us. I'm not looking the dangerous. I'm not looking my death. I want to see how my kids grown. My kids doing surf, and a lot of people said like, "Oh, it's really dangerous sport." Not my kids skateboarding.
Here's a weird question for you, man. Before we close the program, but
Yeah.
do you think any professional photographer, people who know what they're doing, can they jump into action and explore photography, or does it take a very specific type of person and skill set?
Something need to specific skill set, like climbing to the mountains. But most of the all adventures, not. It's open for everybody. You can open your expedition if you go outside to the mountains, to Mammoth Lakes, and go through the trails. And it's already can called by expedition, because expedition, what is expedition for you? If you want to climb to that hill, it could be expedition for you. That's the thing.
I just wonder, because there's people listening that they're like, could I try to do that?
Yes.
And should I try to do that?
Yes.
Like what's, or is it something that you're like, kind of like, I don't believe people are born to do anything, but I do believe people are born with like with some sort of ability to do things other people cannot.
I saw people without legs who climbed to the mountains.
Sure.
I mean, it's impressed. I mean,
Sure.
it's motivate you. A lot of we go to climbing 2 times a week here in the gym, in the closed climbing spot.
Yeah.
And there's a girl without hand, and she climbed 10 times better than me. When I look at her, like, really, I can't climb that route, and she did it so easy. So that people, I mean, you don't, if you have, even don't have, I mean,
Yeah, it's like the movie.
if you
Free
want to
Solo,
do
right?
that, you have to.
Yeah,
But if you don't want to do that,
yeah, don't.
sad.
Yeah, it's like the movie Free Solo, with that
Exactly.
Jimmy Chin directed,
Yeah.
with that guy that trained with him till he doesn't have a finger, but that's like the main finger he needs to grip onto the rock, but he doesn't have it.
But in all of these movies, think about cameramans and the photographers behind the stand.
Yeah,
They don't have to climb without rope, but they have to climb also.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
that's what I'm saying. Like, this is what you do. This is the kind of stuff that you do. Is this kind of crazy adventures things. And I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know anyone can just do it. I think you
let's
have to
say-
be a climber first, and then photographer.
For climbing, you have to be climbing first. If you want to make a proper picture in freeride of snowboarding and skiing, you have to know a lot about the snow condition, avalanche, and of course you have to be a good athlete, a rider on the snowboard or ski, whatever. But for sailing, for example, you can jump on the board and sail. You have a crew who know how to set the sails, etc. If you want to climb, for example, Kilimanjaro, it's not the hardest mountain. You don't need a special
Yeah.
things about ice climbing. You have to walk,
Yeah,
but walk 1 week up.
yeah. You have to just be in some sort of shape.
Yeah.
Right. What is next for you? What do you want to do next? Like what is I know you're trying to survive in America right now. You're trying to rebrand yourself right now. So what is next for you? You're here with your family. You're here in LA. What do you see? What do you see?
I want to live my life, and I want to. So I left my country not because I'm scared to go to army. I don't want to go. I don't want to kill the people, and I want to be free to tell what I'm thinking. Like if I stay against the war, so I want to continue doing photography. That's
Yeah.
important. Action sport photography. I would love to travel photography. Work with the brands, and open that beauty of the world that people can reach by themselves, and also tell them how is fragile nowadays the wild nature. So that's.
Do you think in your field you may have to expand to video in order to go to the next step?
By myself.
Yeah.
No, listen.
Like you do a job that you're going to photograph this do these companies also require you to be a video person?
Yeah, I can be a video person.
And do video as well? Or is it just photography? You're
No.
focused with photography.
No. I do, for example, I edit all my videos from drone, because from drone you can switch easily from photo to video and make a nice video shots from above.
Oh, yeah.
But the things with the video, and I'm sure you will agree, with the photography, you push the button, you edit your pictures, and you can write like this picture made by Roberto, right? By Kirill. If you want to make a good video, you need a scenario, right? You need a cameraman, you need a sound, you need a lot of things comes together to make a proper product. Of course, you can make it by yourself, but if you want to make a proper video from the travel, you need a bunch of team and a crew to make a better product, to be, to sell it to the company.
Yeah.
Of course, you can do it by yourself. And I did few projects from Franz Josef Land or from Antarctica, and it was thousands and even millions views. But I would say for video, I prefer to hire a crew, professionals, and being part of that video than to being a cameraman by myself.
Yeah. I think with technology now, you can kind of do a lot by yourself now. Like the camera can follow you, you can buy a tracker, whatever. Is there any athlete you would love to photograph in any crazy adventure, Red Bull kind of crazy sport that you would love to have?
Especially how I can answer for that question if my wife is an athlete.
Okay, so not your wife, but is there another athlete out there? We should have your wife on the podcast too. She seems like she seems so cool. Guys, on the comments, let me know if we should get his wife to come to the podcast, because she seems like a very interesting person.
Oh yeah.
We should try to do it. Write it on the comments if you would like to see that. But is there one athlete you would like to photograph? Like, I would like to photograph the top marathon runner in the world named Eliud Kipchoge.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah,
he lives in Kenya. He broke 2 hours on that marathon in Austria.
Yeah,
It is my dream to photograph him.
My camera captured almost all of the legend athletes, like starting from Ken Block, who died a few years ago, unfortunately. Travis Rice. I have pictures with Tony Hawk. There's a main skater guy.
Yeah, Tony Hawk. Yeah.
I don't know. That's not about the athlete. It's maybe about place.
Are these people?
So I would say I want to go with the athletes to the moon.
Yeah.
And took some pictures in the moon,
Sure.
Jumping in the moon. That's going to be interesting.
You're going to talk to my friend Jeff Bezos, see if he can put you on the
or
horizon or whatever.
Or I don't know, maybe next February I can find a budget and we'll go with some athlete to Antarctica and doing some, crazy thing close to the icebergs with the water sports. That's...
How many times have you been to Antarctica now?
2 times.
So you want to go back? Is that something you want to go back all the time?
Yeah. No, I've been once in the middle of nowhere. I flew to Antarctica to Union Glacier Camp, and it's cost $50,000.
Yeah.
And last year I sailing there. So next year I'll go again by plane and then sail. Because it's unbelievable.
Sure.
It's like another planet with an animals and icebergs and the whole things around of you.
I know. I want to go to an island called South Georgia Island. I want to go there. This is my dream. South Georgia Island. It's between Chile, like between Tierra del Fuego and Antarctica. It's in the middle of nowhere.
I can share you.
That's where Shackleton.
Yeah, I know. Do you know, in Netflix there is one of the last series. It's called Terror. It's about English expedition to the far north to see the strait upper than North America to the east.
The passage.
The passage.
It's called the.
There is no passage actually. There is ice only after the Greenland.
Yeah, from Greenland through North America through the Canadian things.
Yeah,
that's called something passage. What's it called? The Green Passage, the Great Passage, the Winter Canadian. Anyway,
there's all the time with the ice.
Western Passage, whatever. I don't know.
So I want to try to do the greatest expedition again by myself. I mean, the greatest world expedition by the ships that they made before. But I want to repeat it with new technologies, with the new ships, and try to capture it how it was before, but how it's happened nowadays.
That's a good idea.
We'll see.
That would be cool.
I already made a half of the expedition of Bering. There is a guy who find a way from the east to North America, who was the first who crossed the ocean, goes to North America, and then come back and then accidentally die on the Commander Islands. It's Aleutian, part of the Aleutian Islands.
You're talking about the technology that we have now in terms of ships or in terms of cameras. What are you talking about?
In terms of fast ships, like with a foil system where you can really fly under the water and go so fast.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about like the new technology, modern shipping technology to get you through the... it's called the Northwest Passage.
Yeah, maybe. But there is no passage,
passage.
water passage. I mean, they all the time covered by
Yeah, they
ice.
call it a passage, but it's nothing but a death trap. It's just not a passage at all.
If you have icebreaker, it could be a passage.
I'm telling you, man, like I live in this beautiful city of Los Angeles, and I would love to experience the Northwest Passage. I would love to see. Let's go. Guys,
You want to go with us?
what do you guys think about the Northwest Passage and any kind of crazy adventures? You know, talking about adventure, let me do a quick commercial break about my conference in Tucson, because that is an adventure. You should come.
Tell me.
Guys, in May 2025, but every May, I do the Photo Creators Conference. That is an adventure, actually. I wanted to create a conference that had no limitations in the photography. So I wanted to create like a dream conference, dream retreat.
Where?
So
Here in LA?
it's in Tucson, Arizona, but it's in a ranch in the mountains in the Sonoran Desert. And when you go to conferences, like I used to think like, okay, the models that they have are not really models. They're just kind of people. They're not really inspiring, but they're nice people, but they're not inspiring to shoot. I wanted to fix that. Can we bring top agency models? Agency models are not easy to get to a conference. They don't want to be photographed by, usually agencies don't let their models get photographed by people learning. Mm-hmm. They usually get them to go only by like top photographers, right? Because the photos are going to go online. So I had to work relationships with all the agencies and see who if they can let go of that stupidity and let me bring their top models for a photo conference. And after years of relationships, we did this. And so the models that we have now are the kind of models that most people would never have access to. They were like $5,000 for a day rate kind of thing or more. The next thing I wanted to do is create a conference where there was no limit to where you can shoot. Because I wanted people to, when you go to a conference, there's like, you can do these things called photo walks. But the photo walks are like, okay, you can only shoot from here to there, and then from there to there. And you cannot go out of this, you cannot go there because you're disturbing the guests or you're disturbing the people. So you have to stay in this little area, in this parking lot and stuff like that. And I wanted to create a place where photographers would have access to the mountains, to lakes, to buildings, to the ranch, to horses, to ponies, to anything you could possibly imagine in your head. You can do it with no limitations. The only way to do that is by renting the entire 500-acre ranch by myself.
Let's extend your new No Limits conference and invite not only the top models, but let's invite top athletes.
That's what I'm trying to say. That's what I'm thinking.
And organize some shooting session with some kind of sports.
Yeah.
Because it's a good, thing to practice your photography skills. Because it's fast, it's interesting, it's emotional, it's a lot of things. And it's not only about the jumps, it's about, portrait photography also.
Yeah.
And environment photography. So let's extend.
That's right.
Because it's no limits.
There's no limit. So I think if we bring athletes, it will be super cool. I think that so I've done this for 5 years now, and I love it, man. Every year we get together. There's about 100 people that come, 150. We have 6 or 7 top models. We have 500 acres of land with there's no interruptions. There's golf carts. People can go on golf carts to the mountains and shoot. Imagine a dream retreat. That's what it is. It's the
for photographers.
Yeah, for photographers and for video too. And the best part about it is if we have top models, top location, very much like a retreat style, the next logical thing was, can I bring the best educators in the world?
You have to
do this, and you have to.
Yeah.
And I did, and to my surprise, the best of the best have gone there, and we continue because thanks to my sponsors that have, every sponsor, Canon, Nikon, Sony, Lexar, SanDisk, like bad companies, every single, Profoto, Graphic Studio, just the biggest companies in the photo industry have been behind me on this, have been supporting me on this, and we have been able to bring, thanks to them, the best teachers in the country. So now students do not have any lectures by any teacher there. Mm-hmm. It is all like working with you directly, hands-on, like
it's
real hands-on.
What you did, it's very important because photography, it's a practice. Mm-hmm. And one thing you can see the podcasts or see the other pictures and the other thing, if you try to do the same and actually in the same moment with the professional photographer.
Yeah.
And since you can see the difference between your pictures and his pictures, you can clearly see mistakes, or maybe not mistakes. Maybe you can make a better picture than your teacher. It's possible.
Of course you can.
But the practice in photography, it's most important thing.
That's right.
And when the people ask me how to learn photography, I say, grab your camera and start picturing.
Yeah, taking pictures. Yeah, that's right. That was the other thing. Like when you go to these conferences, the big ones, I love them. There's nothing wrong with them.
It's not about sitting in one place.
That's right. But you sit on a chair, you listen to the guy on stage or the girl on stage, and you're like, wow, I'm so inspired. Wow, I'm inspired. Uh-huh. But as soon as you get out of that room and you're having your pizza at California Pizza Kitchen and your beer, you pretty much forget everything the person said, and you didn't learn actually practically how to actually you do it yourself.
Right.
So that was the next thing I wanted to fix, is how do we make a conference where people can actually, the instructors at the Photo Creators Conference are told that they're asked, not told, they're asked if they can please choose a topic that they want to discuss, and they teach it. Then they demonstrate that topic. They do it themselves. So they don't just have a keynote and then they actually are physically with a camera, with a model. They have access to the horses, whatever they want to create, they can do it. The photographer, the teacher's telling the students the whole mental process of what they're thinking. Then the coolest part happens. Now the students get to try it, and the teacher gets to give feedback immediately to that student.
That's important.
Yeah.
And he can see
he can say, or she can say, like,
improve.
You did great here. These are where you started choking. That's learning. That is, to me, learning. But even beyond the learning, it's the community of having the instructor, the students, and even the companies all in the classes. Like at the Photo Creators Conference, the companies are not in a booth. They're actually in the classes with you.
Yeah.
So it's like one
more
beautiful
ad,
time.
How you can stimulate people make a better picture. You can organize a small competition between photographers with small prizes from your sponsors, and organize a contest. How
I want to do this. I have to think, because then they stop learning and they start trying to shoot better, and they start shooting over each other. So I have to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Because I want the education and the practicality of the education.
One day learning
for them. Yeah, I get it. I'm gonna try it. But I want people to actually go back to their homes with a skill set they didn't have before, that they can apply themselves. That's what I wanted to do. And I also wanted to be a place where you build community and friends. Community is a major thing at the Photo Creators Conference. Like, I want people to get to know you if you come teach for there sometime. Like, get to know you as a person. Instead of having this hierarchy, like, oh, the instructor's there and you cannot talk to them because they're like this famous person. It's like, no. There, everyone is having breakfast, lunch, and dinner in the same room. Yeah. They're all equal. There is no hierarchy there. I believe that the reason why I started this is to build a community where we are all equal and we all have in common the love for photography and video. That's, and we want to be able to shoot models that you would never have access to, and you want to be able to do it in the most exotic, beautiful locations that will inspire you. And I want teachers to give people feedback and be able to do it themselves. So then that when you wake up in the morning the next day and the sun is rising in the Sonoran Desert, you feel as inspired to kick butt as possible.
I'll go.
Yes, let's go. Let's go. I mean, guys, if you're interested in doing this, it's going to be in May. Yeah, in May 5th through 8th, 2025, Tucson, Arizona. We are running out of rooms at the ranch, but you can still book your room at the Hilton. It's all the information on the website. But you can still do it if you do it now, you can still do it stay at the ranch. We encourage every single person to stay at the ranch. The whole point is to be together. Okay? But anything else you want to say, guys? You want to say, Kirill?
Thank you.
Thank you
for inviting me.
You know what, man? We had a great time.
I hope my English was not so bad. I hope, and you are understanding me. And yeah, and I hope doing some new, crazy, interesting things here in the US.
I think photography has brought you to very exciting and incredible memories and world domination for you. Like you have seen things most people have not. You have been privy to the most beautiful locations in the world, and this is why. And some of the most interesting, fearless people in the world. You have had privy to meet them and talk to them and break bread with them.
And it's all because of photography.
And it's all because of photography. And this is why I consider this field the most beautiful career in the world, because it's a passport. It's a passport to not only every country you want to go to, but it's a passport to people's lives and to experience life like you have. You have experienced life way better than most people have.
Yeah, I have a lection for students. I made this lection for students in Portuguese school, diplomatic students, last year of school students, and I call it "Photography Open All of the Doors." That's what I believe.
Photography opens all of the doors. Yeah. It does. Opens all of the doors.
You meet a lot of interesting people in the world, open new places, and it's all because of the camera in your hands.
That's right.
So
and I
take pictures.
Take more pictures, people. 30 frames per second. No.
120.
Thanks, Kirill.
Thank you.
Thank you, man. It was awesome. And we'll see you next time. And please, guys, anything you want on the podcast, go to the
Leave
YouTube
comments
and write it on the comments. You can also do comments on Spotify and Apple Podcasts, but also I think the YouTube one, definitely for sure.
Yep.
Okay? Thanks, guys. Take
Goodbye.
care, and we'll see you later. Bye.